Hey guys, Chad here with Midlife Classic Cars. So it's been a minute since I've made a video. I've got a pretty good reason, but the last video I did was on me wrapping the car, and I haven't touched the car since that video. And it's been pushing close to a year at this point, I think. But what happened is I had to go away and spend several months in the hospital. I spent about almost 3 months in the hospital. My gallbladder got infected and attacked my pancreas. We're not sure what caused it, but it happened. And, it was very unfortunate, but I was in a rough state. I was on every drug you could imagine, even fentanyl and Dilaudid, oxy, morphine. I was on them all, and I was in a lot of pain. So I wasn't able to work, and I had to live in the hospital. And I had no food. I couldn't eat. I wasn't allowed to eat for almost 2.5 months. I was fed through a tube in my arm. And so, I was in pretty rough shape and came close to dying, I think twice. I had over 14 surgeries. So if I took my shirt off, you'd see I have a ton of holes and some lines in my body now from all the surgeries I've had. And I'm very fortunate to be alive. And it's like our slogan is 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on the throttle. And I have more than a foot in this year. And speaking of that, I'm wearing the new Midlife Classic Cars shirt right now. You can see on the back, it's got the slogan, 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on the throttle on the back with a guy in a race car. That's me. I kind of made that after I came out of the hospital because I made the slogan really true this time around. Like really came close to dying. And so you can pick these up at midlifeclassiccars.com and check out our books and everything we sell on the website. It really helps me with racing and everything. So I'd appreciate that. And I also want to thank everyone that wrote me asking where I was, why I stopped making videos. I didn't respond to everybody because I was in the hospital. I was so drugged up I couldn't think straight, but I do appreciate it, and I saw the messages, and I appreciate that. But we've got to get back to it. And, honestly, like a few months ago, I could barely walk. I've been in a lot of PT and trying to get back in shape, and I've lost 95 pounds. I'm way lighter than what I used to be, which is going to be good for the racing because now we can put some weights around the car to make the car handle a little bit better. But we're going to get back into it. And what's really motivated me is that INEX is going to race the legend cars at the Roval at Charlotte. And I will be honest with you, like my goal is not necessarily winning races. Yeah, I want to win a race. I want to improve. A lot of this for me is I want to run tracks that I've watched people I idolize run my whole life. And, running at the Roval's a big one for me. I really would like to race at Bowman Gray. It's right down the road for me. I've been to a bunch of Bowman Gray races, and I think it'd be really cool to run there and say I've raced at Bowman Gray. I think that was like the first thing that was like finally thinking about racing oval. I've always been into road racing, and the thing that made me think about racing oval was going to Bowman Gray. And I was like, I really want to, race here. And they didn't race legend cars. I was actually looking at, running one of the cars that fits into the class. But like I said, I'm more into road racing than I am oval. I love oval racing. I've gotten so much respect since running the few races I've run in this for oval racers. A lot of respect for them. How hard it is to set up a car and how much harder it is to get the car around a circle. I've said this before. I think oval racing is far more challenging than road racing at this point. I used to do a lot of track days and motorcycles and stuff, and I have a race bike, and setting up a race bike suspension and riding a motorcycle on a track or a road course to me is easier than racing an oval, just because how complicated the setup is and everything with it is driving. But running the Rovals is a big thing for me. I really want to do this. So I'm curious if I'm going to be strong enough. I'm only going to sign up at first for the practice day and give the practice day a try. But I think I can do it. I've really come along with my strength. I'm cycling every day. I'm getting my endurance up and everything. So I really think it's something I'm going to do. And I just have a lot of projects. Today is the 7th, and I think the practice day is the 18th or 19th. So I only have a short amount of time to go before I get out and race or do the practice day at the Roval. So we've got a lot of little projects to do on the car, and I'm going to show you those in just a second here. I got a lot of stuff. I went down to Charlotte and Mooresville yesterday and picked up a bunch of stuff. But that's just where I've been. 14 surgeries and physical therapy and just living in a hospital. And I'm excited to still be alive. I'm really happy about it all. So yeah, we're going to get to it. So let's get racing, and yeah, I'll show you all the things we got to do and everything. And I appreciate all the nice things people wrote asking where I was. So let's get to it and yeah, get to work. So a lot of this stuff is actually really simple that we got to do. I want to install a better rear mirror so I can see out the back of the car. You know, I've got a hook to hang my steering wheel. I just have like a coat hanger that's been bent to hold my steering wheel. I got some buttons here. These are because the seat padding keeps coming out in my car for some reason. You can even see here it's kind of slid out. It always slides out on me and it drives me crazy. So I have to adjust it every time that I get out of the car. So we're gonna get that fixed with those. Had to get a brand new seat belt. Went with Simpson's this time. The one I had I like, but this one just seems a lot better. I like the pull away tab and everything to get it off. We're gonna go do a disc brake conversion. I hope this is not gonna be that complicated. I still gotta get the bolts for it. I got this from INEX. So of course it didn't come with the bolts and stuff, and we gotta bleed the system to do that. So I have a master bleeder, and this is add the cap on the top so we can use it on the Legend car. And then we've got fresh tires and need to get them mounted. My cousin just got a brand new tire changing machine and balancer. So I'm going to use some of that family love and get him to do it for me and teach me how to do it so I can potentially get my own tire changer myself. But this is what we got to do. We got a lot of work to get done on the car. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So we've got the mirrors installed and it makes a huge difference. Huge difference for what I can see. I kind of wish I had done this before. What I can see behind me now is just insane. I almost don't even need the side mirrors anymore because of the angle and everything. Like I said, I really wish I had done that before this. So we got that installed and got the hook installed for the steering wheel. I'm not doing much today. I have to run my business and everything. So I'm gonna get back at it tomorrow and start getting the diff out maybe and getting that done. So I'll be back in the morning and get more done. All right, guys, it's the next day. My next thing is going to do is get the seatbelt installed. So I'm going with this new Simpson one here. I really like this pull tab versus the levers and some of the other ones I've sat in before. And I like this one. My last one, the buckle part was in the crotch. That was like, so when you got out of the car, it would fall and hit the floor of the car. And I have like in mine, I think most people have this, but there's like some sandpaper on the bottom here. It's a grip, it's like skateboard grip tape. And it was scratching up the harness really bad and scuffing it. So I'm really happy this one goes from your side and buckles in. So really happy with this one, but I'm gonna get this installed now and it's probably gonna take me a minute because I remember when I installed this seat, it was a real pain in the butt. But let me get to that and that's gonna be our next thing. I'll show you how it looks when we're done. So this is what the rear disc brake conversion comes with if you get it from INEX. It's not painted and it's just raw steel, and I'm kind of wondering if I should paint it or not. I know I could, clean out the holes and stuff, but I think I'm gonna paint it just so it doesn't end up rusting on the car. I don't like the look of rust and I like everything kind of clean looking. So I think I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna clean it up first and it's got some edges to it. I'm gonna take the edges off of it. And then I've got one other piece I wanna paint here. Here, the steering column holder or whatever you wanna call this piece here. I wanna get some paint on it. Mine's looking kind of rough. So I'm gonna knock these out real quick and get some paint on them. Definitely where the holes are, there was some burrs, so it's good to clean that up in there, but I'm gonna just do a light scuffing before I put paint on those. And now we gotta drain the fluid so we can get the axle taken apart, and so we can do the brake conversion, and also for the to get the actual diff out. Looking good, no metal shavings, it's looking good. And while we're taking that out, next is to get the axle bolts out, or drive shaft bolts. I can't think straight today. One thing I would definitely say is these were starting to get gummed up here. So I went ahead and bought some fresh ones to get in the car. So hopefully we won't end up in a situation where I can't back them out in an emergency situation or something like that. So I've knocked out the other side, got it all disassembled. Now we're going to do this side. I am doing this side to make it look like I know what I'm doing. It just took me a while since I've done disc brakes on my BMW 2002. And on this one, I changed out the rear end. Since I've been in the hospital, all the drugs I was on wiped out my memory. I mean, it really did. I have a hard time remembering things now. But yeah, I don't know why I was trying to take the brake assembly apart on the other side when it all comes out. And it's something I knew. It's just a matter of, like I said, I've lost a lot of memory over the past year from being in the hospital, just all the drugs they had me on. It's crazy how much that stuff will just wipe you out. And I'm gonna just go ahead and take the time really quick while I've got this one out to inspect it. It's looking nice and clean. I don't see any metal shavings. I don't see any irregularities. Anything irregular? I don't see anything. I don't see the irregular on it. Man, that's embarrassing. So this axle's just gonna go, our diff is just gonna go straight back in its bucket. And in a minute here, we'll get the other one installed. All right, guys, I've already done the other side. Now we're moving on to this one. It's, the kit's not great. I'll just say that. No bolts, and this piece is not worth painting. I definitely had to put it in the drill press and hollow out the holes. And on the other side, I had to shave this area. This area, the small diameter area a little bit. So when it fit in, I mean, it was just a little bit tight. So it's going to end up there. But we're going to go through the process now. There's another guy that has a really good video. I don't know his name. I'll link it in the video of how to do a disc brake conversion. He in the video is complaining about not having bolts, and at first I was like, oh, that's not too bad. But after doing it, you realize like it becomes a problem because everything has a different dimension to it as far as length. But yeah, so one thing he did talk about that I thought was pretty smart was going and figure which way is up here and marking it. Yeah, because these bolts, like if you flip it around, it does not line up. All right. I've lubed my bearings. They're all ready to go. Double check the spindle to make sure like all this is nice and smooth. Now we just need to slide this down through here. Line it up there. Some going through with some nice beats. All right, and now we're just gonna slide this in. One thing I realized, it was nice even just to have a bolt here and here. I'm gonna remove these later, but just to line it when you line everything up. So go through here. Make sure I don't hit the seal at all. At least trying not to hit the seal. Is that correct? go. So this is definitely covered in oil, obviously to keep it from rusting during transportation or just however long. That's gonna be sitting. I'm gonna try to run the car at Charlotte if we were able to make it and try to get these brakes to seat a little bit. But this is one less thing with oil being on it. You can see it makes a huge difference. All right, so now, I'm gonna make sure to clean them, get my hand grease off of them before everything's said and done. Probably do it when I bleed the brakes. Then. All right, the only thing I've got to do is hook up the line, which I will do tomorrow. I think I'm gonna have to order more lines. I don't think these are gonna work. So I'm gonna measure these out with some rope and see what I come up with. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to order new brake lines for this and then install them down the road. All right. What else we gotta do? I gotta change out the springs in the car, so I'm probably gonna work on that next. So I'm gonna get to that and we'll finish this up once the new lines come in, if I can get them in time. All right, guys, this is another day. The rear end's pretty much done. I'm still waiting for some new braided brake hoses to come in, but I got the disc on. I didn't put oil in the diff yet because I'm kind of worried that if today's Sunday, the Sunday before the Friday of the Charlotte and Roval race, and I'm just worried in case something comes up, I don't get everything done. I don't get the race, and I don't need that rear end. So I just waited to put oil in the car and made sure I put a sign up that says no oil in the diff. But that's done now. My next project is I've got to get started on the front end. When I bought my car, it came with a complete different setup for road racing. It's marked for road racing, and it says RC on it, road course. And there's some other numbers, left and right. And so what I'm gonna do is swap them out and keep this the same for oval. Now I know the settings are going to be different, but these are going to be my oval arms and control arms, and this is going to be my road racing ones. And then I even have other rotors that I'm going to use for road racing and bearings versus the oval stuff. So what I'm going to do is take the brakes off, take the rotors off, and then clean up all that, wrap this so it stays protected, and put it in the trailer in case I have an issue at the track. And then I have a backup one. And then put the road racing ones on, the whole setup on the car. And then that way the rest of the week I can spend doing the setup on the car and focusing on that. So what I need to do now, I just want to get a win. So I'm going to just take the shocks off and the car first. So I'm going to do shocks off, then the calipers, then rotors, then suspension. And I'm gonna just try to jump back and forth, do one side of each project at a time. So do, the shocks here, do the shocks there. And I've just really been working on how to be more efficient with getting stuff done. Like I keep saying, I don't remember a lot of things since being in the hospital. I lost a lot of my memory. And so I'm having to gain back how to do things because I've never taken this off before. So I need to kind of remember how to do things. And yeah, this is just where I'm at. I've got to remember how to do this and maybe make a system for doing it so I can be as efficient as possible. So the few times I do need to go between a road setup and an oval setup, I can be faster at doing it and everything. So I'm gonna get started on this, get a win here, and then yeah, we're gonna move on to some other things. Okay, I've made some progress. I've got this side on. I just got to put the shock absorber on and I'll be done. And yeah, I've got this one completely knocked out as far as the control arms and everything. I still got to do the spindle and the brakes on that. And then we're about to knock out this side here next. Just to give you a little, I've been trying to clean as I go, like clean the frame and everything, just trying to make the car nice and clean so I can spot any issues. So this is where we're at. This is taking me a little bit of time, but I'm hoping learning this side. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done, it's not the first time I've ever rebuilt a front end on a car, but it's the first time I've ever done it on the Legend car. So it's just taking me some time to figure some things out, but it's going pretty good. But this is where I'm at so far, and keep moving. All right, guys, it's another day. Yesterday was actually practice. So with the setup, I just got way behind on it, and so I didn't shoot any more video. It took me forever. Like the day before we loaded the car, I loaded the car up at like late at night and just working on the setup. I just had a lot of issues and learning. It's a learning curve, so I had a lot to learn. Yesterday was practice. Car wouldn't start in the morning. Missed my first session, made the second session. What it was this air in the fuel line, and I think the fuel is old in the car, so we drained it out today and put fresh fuel in, just something because of me being in the hospital and not thinking about the car sitting for a year, like in my fuel sitting for a year. I shouldn't have used it. That was like on me, just kind of a stupid mistake I made, just not thinking straight. But yeah, yesterday when I did get on the session, just figured I'd let everyone by. I was just trying to figure out the brakes. I was trying to, I got a new brake bias, so I had to figure that out. And then the car kept cutting out on NASCAR turn 3 and 4 on me, and it would go into limp mode. I'm not sure what that would be. I'm hoping that was because of either the fuel or my battery wasn't bolted down correctly, because one of the things we were doing was swapping batteries left and right, and I forgot to put the plate in at the bottom, because when they were handing me the old school and the new school batteries to try to get the car to crank, and I forgot the new school. I have the plate that holds it in place, but I didn't put it back in, so the battery was moving around. So I'm hoping that was that issue. But yeah, there's just setup things I realized I did not do correctly that we need to do on the car, which I'll do for next week. I'm kind of looking at this week as like a figure things out. But today is Saturday. We're going to have practice qualifying, and someone said 2 races. I thought it was only 1 race today, but it says 2. So we've got to pump the bad fuel out, put fresh fuel in, but the car's pretty much ready to go and get out on the track. And today I'm putting the cameras on the car. Yesterday, just because of everything going on, I just didn't want to, I didn't even want to mess with cameras and trying to shoot video. I just wanted to get out on the track and see how it felt. But yeah, I'd recommend this to anyone. Like just a little putting around I did. I was Sunday driving. There was some people cooking out there, and I was Sunday driving, and even just that was just so much fun. So if you want to get into racing, this is still, I think, one of the cheapest ways to do it. Working on race cars and stuff is definitely frustrating. You're definitely always solving problems, but the feeling of accomplishment has been nice lately. I haven't had that since I've been out of the hospital, just really getting big projects accomplished, and this has been really nice. I was talking to my father this morning about that, about how I really enjoy accomplishing goals, and yeah, you get a lot of that out of this. So, all right, I'm gonna start working on the car, getting it ready, and we'll get you some videos on the track. So no more legend car. No, I'm still going to keep racing. The legend car is at someone else's shop. So I'm going to fill you in with what happened at the race. At this point, we already had the first Roval weekend, and there was a lot of issues. So I'm going to put this in the video first, and then you'll jump into me getting ready for the race and everything, and a little bit of video from the track. Basically, what it came down to is I had nothing but problems. We got down there and set up on Friday and had a hard time getting the car to run. Remember, I had to load the car back up and rush it to INEX and have them look at the engine and the ECU and see what was going on. We kind of diagnosed that there was bad fuel in it, and because it had been sitting for so long, and even though there's only a tiny bit of fuel in there, we think it was causing the problems either with that, the filter, and at the fuel rail. And we were fouling out spark plugs. So basically, we got it running INEX. I rushed back. I didn't set up the cameras or anything, but I got one practice session in. I was supposed to have two, and I got one session in the car. And basically, it was just me filling out the car that time. I was trying to set the brakes because, now I've got a rear brake bias and a front brake bias, front left. And so I was like trying to figure that out, get that set. So I didn't even really get to turn a hot lap and everything. And then the second day, Saturday, we go out there, and Saturday, we had the car running, so I'm like, good, the car's running, let's replace the fuel filter. We're going to pump out any bad fuel and put fresh fuel in. Did all that, and the car wouldn't run again. We did all types of stuff. I did what the guy at INEX did. I got the air out of the fuel line, and luckily there was a gentleman helping me, really nice guy, just kept coming over and helping me. And he figured out it was the spark plugs were fouled again, second set of spark plugs fouled, just from us trying to get the car to start. And once we put fresh spark plugs in, the car fired right up. At that point on Saturday, I'd already missed the practice session because I couldn't get the car running. And then we're supposed to have two races. And so I made it to the first race. And that one, you're going to see some video from that. But that was, once again, me just trying to figure out the car. I knew I was starting in the back because I couldn't do the practice/qualifying. And so I just ran in the back of the pack. And when I got the car running, the car wasn't running good. Like, I think we figured out it was only running on 2 of the 3 cylinders. And so I decided just to putt around the track a bit and figure out the track and just try to learn for this coming week coming up in the next race. And so we pulled it off. We think we figured out why it was only running on 2 cylinders. It was running better in the pits. Feeling great. I was like, all right, great. Like, I got some track time, and I'm going to run again on the second race that we were supposed to have on Saturday. And just because of the way scheduling works and the way, like, a lot of people were wrecking because a lot of people were new to running road courses. A lot of people were trying to pass on the first turn because you start and then you almost immediately hit a turn. And they weren't just passing, it was wrecking. So just a lot of inexperience out there that day. And because of that, we got set so far back, we weren't able to get our second race in. So we were supposed to have 2 more races, or 1 race on Sunday, and they had already canceled that because there was snow coming, which here in Greensboro, it did snow. I don't know if it ever snowed down in Charlotte, but here in Greensboro, it definitely snowed a fair amount. So I missed out on that. So all this time, I had this gentleman, really nice gentleman, help me solve the problems of the car. He was lending me batteries. He was offering me spark plugs. He did all this stuff for me. And at the end, I was thinking, I was like, hey, you're a really nice guy for doing this. I really appreciate it. And then he's like, I do this for a living. I set up legend cars for a living. And he's like, everyone that I'm coming from is on my team. Because he kept walking from a trailer. I didn't quite put together that he was a team. I just thought, like a lot of people, they just work together and stuff. Like, I have a few people that I always pit next to because I can rely on them for help and I help them in certain situations. And then after talking to him, we decided that I was going to take my race car at Saturday and take it to his shop. And he was going to go through it, find everything wrong with the car, and put a better setup. And this is one thing I want to talk about. 2 things, really. One, multiple people have seen my racing videos through legend cars. And one thing I kept hearing was like, hey, I wish you would do more how-to stuff. First of all, I can't do how-to stuff for a legend car because I don't know how to set up a legend car because I've never done it before. Now, one thing I can do is do videos on how to change the brakes, how to do disc brakes, how to change out the rear end. And maybe in the future, I will make some videos like that. But I'm gonna be honest, and I'm in no place to teach people how to set up a legend car. My videos are really just me documenting my process of learning how to get into this form of racing, having to get help, and everything I'm going through. So that's why you don't see me making really how-to videos, is because I don't think I'm in a place to teach you how to do something. Now, I want that to change. I want to learn at getting better at setups. And I did do pretty good on my setup, except for a few mistakes I made and everything. And luckily, this guy's shop is going to take it out. I'll bring him up in a future video. I just don't have permission to talk about him yet. And I'm someone that I don't like putting their stuff on YouTube until I have permission to talk about them. So once we do, I'll tell you about who I'm working with and everything. Really nice guy, really nice family and everything. And that leads into what I want to tell anyone that's getting into this. The one thing, especially with oval's harder than road racing as far as setup. But if you're getting into this, the hardest thing you are going to face is setups and getting the car set up for the track you're at. If you have no experience doing it, you'll never understand how hard it actually is, especially with oval, especially like how every corner is different in the car. There's no two corners that are the same, different weights, different spring weights, the height that the springs are sitting, the height that the car is sitting, everything's completely different. So unless you've been around someone teaching you, learning setups is completely just a complicated task. And I'm not saying you can't learn how to do it, and you should. I think I got really close with my road setup with a few mistakes. And, I was going to do it again if it wasn't for this guy's team solving my other problems and then having them do a setup, because I wanted them to give me a car that's set up properly so I can go out there and have a baseline. Okay, this is what this car is supposed to feel like. And hopefully that's what I'm going to get this weekend coming up, which is our next races, but at the Roval. But there's a chance that weather might be affecting those. And INEX has already announced that they're going to make updates. But the setup is the hardest thing. If you've never done this, it's going to get you. And it's just a huge learning curve. So I think I want to start working with this team after Charlotte with getting me oval setups and setting up my car for me, which is great because I just need the help. And it saves me time. I've got to run a business myself. I've got other projects of cars I want to work on. And in the video you're about to watch, it's going to start with me like 2 weeks before the race working on the car. And you're going to see how hard it was. Like the whole front end had to come off on mine because I have a road suspension and I have a oval suspension. So every suspension piece on the front of my car came off. I had to put a new one in. I also upgraded to rear disc brakes. I had to rebuild the rear end and put the correct gear ratio in. And then I had to do the setup. And it took me, because it was the first time, 2 weeks to do it all. And a lot of this because I just can't, I run a business. And during the weekend, I need to spend a little bit of time with my family and everything. And it's complicated to do it all. So if I can do a lot of the serviceability and get someone else to help me with the setups and teach me about the setups, I think that's the route that I should be going. And that's a route, honestly, I recommend anyone else going. If you're going to get into legend car racing or probably any other form of racing, you should learn how to work on the car yourself. You should learn how to do setups. But starting out, like the best route is to go with the team for help, even if it's just setups. Like I said, I can service the car. I've been servicing cars my whole life. I have no problem doing that. But the setup is where it eats the most of my time. And it ate a lot of my time servicing car because a lot of the stuff I was doing was the first time I've ever done it on the legend car. And after doing it, I was like, okay, I could have done this faster. I would have been a lot faster. And what took me 2 weeks probably would have taken me 2 days now, if even a day, if I decided to swap everything over and back and stuff. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. And we're going to get into the video. It's going to have a second intro here. This is going to be the real intro to the video with me working on the car and getting ready. And then there's just a little bit of video on the track. And then you will see some video hopefully next week of me actually hopefully getting some racing in and getting some practice in so you can get a more feel of what I'm going through. Because I'm slow. Just figuring out the car is a big process of how it feels in the turns and how it feels with your setup and stuff. So I'm slow, but like this is my goal is to figure this out. So let's get into the video. The legend car is not gone. It's just at another person shop getting set up and let's get to it.